Yo, what do you think? You're God's gift to the world? Let's break that down for a second. And if you don't like the word God, that's fine. I don't really care too much about the word myself. God, life, existence, the universe, the source, the force, whatever you perceive creation to be. You got here from somewhere. And let's just say, if we think about it on a fundamental level, that if you can at least agree we exist, or you exist as an individual, where did you come from? Okay, you came from the person who birthed you, who created you with another person, and where did they come from? And where did they come from? And their grandmothers and their grandfathers and their ancestors, where did they come from? Just keep tracing it back to the source, to the origin. Keep tracing back the genesis of life. Where does it come from? In the same way that if you took a drop of rain, maybe that drop of rain fell onto a branch and fell into the river, and that river ran into a lake, and that lake ran into another river that ran into the ocean. Is that raindrop a raindrop? Is it a river? Is it a lake? Is it the ocean? And what happens when that water evaporates again and goes back into the sky and becomes a cloud and becomes rain again? Is that drop of water a drop of water? Is it a raindrop? Is it a dewdrop that forms on a leaf in the early morning cool? If you are a drop that came from not a cloud, but from another person, where did you come from? How far back did the lineage and the link have to go for you to be here now? Yeah, all the way back to the beginning. I know it sounds corny and cliche that we're made of stardust, but the elements in our bodies, the hydrogen, the nitrogen, the iron, they're the same compounds that are in stars that the universe is made out of. This is a fact. This is science. This is not really some esoteric debate about religion and creation, but if you do come from source, ultimately you trace that back. What does that make you? Seriously, where do you come from? Not just from your mother or your father, but where did they come from, and where did the people that made them come from, and keep going back, further, and just trace it back. Not in a personage kind of way, but in a lineage, sort of a energetic life kind of way. In the way that fruit is born from the harvest in the fall time. Where does it come from? It comes from the seed, makes a plant. The plant grows leaves, and matures and bears fruit. But where does that come from? Creation, life, the universe, energy, this whole experience, where does it come from? And the reason I ask that is because a lot of the times in our modern society, we can be made to feel as if we're too much. If our uniqueness, our individuality, our sovereign nature of divinity, might I say. Divinity simply meaning coming from that divine place of creation, as being connected to that divine source on some level. Now, that's not me saying that you are God, but if that raindrop is part of water, if that dewdrop, if that rain cloud, if that river, if that ocean, if that lake, if they're all part of the same collective source of water in that form, whether it's evaporated into a cloud or raining or flowing through a river, it's the same element. And in some ways, we are the same element. We are life. We are sentient beings on this planet. We are a manifestation of the divine creation, evolving through time. We are life in human form, flesh and bone. But we come from the source. It's clear that we come from the source. Where else did we come from? And if we come from the source, what does that say about our nature? Are we part source? Are we part creation? Are we part God? Are we God? Are we part of it, an expression of, a manifestation of? Are we a form of creation, God, divinity, in human form? Continuing to create as human beings on this planet? A lot of questions are being asked right here. A lot of questions that can make our head spin and make us wonder, but it's not that complicated. We can all agree on some level that we all come from the source of life on some level. That the life that inhabits our bodies, the breath that we take in our lungs and the blood that pumps through our hearts is no creation of ours. No human being on the planet has ever invented or created a heart or a lung or a brain or an eye. We participate in the act of creating life, but just because we participate in the act of creating doesn't mean we're actually creating the creation, in the same way that the genetic material found in a seed is not a fruit, but it potentiates the creation of fruit, of nourishment, of growth, of creation on some level. Are we the seeds? Ask yourself that question. Do you have seeds in your heart, in your soul? Seeds that want to be planted and sprout roots and germinate and grow into seedlings and saplings and bear fruit? What happens to the nature of the seed if it's not planted? Can it bear fruit? And what is the fruit that we bear as human beings? What is the fruit you want to bear? What is the gift you want to give to the world? You see, when people say things like, what do you think, you're God's gift to the world? It can come from a place of accusation, contempt, fear, confusion, ignorance, envy, jealousy, insecurity. Why would someone say that to another? Maybe that person is saying something which makes the other person feel less than. Maybe some people can feel as if they are not a gift. Some people feel like they were created or born into the world by accident. They were a mistake. They weren't intentionally brought into this world by a loving couple, by a mom and dad. They may not have that structure in their lives and may not feel like they're wanted or that they belong. And if we feel that, sometimes we can wonder if others feel maybe something more than we feel. Maybe we can worry if someone else is God's gift to the world, then what are we if we're not connected to that source? What does that say about our existence? Why we're here? What our purpose is? But if you sit with these questions, if you can sit with the emotions that it brings up and ask yourself why you're here, it doesn't need to be a grandiose answer. It doesn't need to be, we don't need to invent the cures for disease and, reinvent the wheel or accomplish anything great or have a building named after us or a street dedicated in our name or win a Pulitzer or a Nobel Prize. What is our real gift? What is God's gift? Creation's gift? The source of life, what's the gift? That's something that can be explored on a much more personal level, and really defining success as a human being and what a gift is really up to you. It can come in all forms. Materially, physically, psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, supportively, compassionately. Can we choose to be a gift to this world? Can we choose to offer to this world things that we feel maybe it's lacking? Can you listen to these words and make a conscious choice to ensure that the inner voice that you speak to yourself with is kind, it's loving, it's gentle? Can you step out into the world instead of keeping your head down and staring at the device and just disconnecting from source and connection and presence and awareness? Can we instead stay present? Can we keep our chin up and make eye contact with our neighbor as they pass in the street? Maybe they have their head down in their phone, but it doesn't matter. It's not about them. It's not about trying to change other people, but recognizing where we can make changes to ourselves and the way that we interact with the world. Can we simply choose to make eye contact? Good morning. Hi. Have a nice day. Or just acknowledge someone else's humanity. What if it's not a friendly neighbor who you already have a decent rapport and connection with? What if it's the homeless guy who often gets overlooked, who's often unseen, who probably feels very unwanted, unloved, and feels as if they don't really belong? What if we can offer a gift to that person to simply recognize their humanness, to simply acknowledge their existence? What if we stop and pet a dog, scratch his butt so his tail can wag and he can offer a sniff to just say hello? Can that be God's gift to the world? Can you, in human form, as a living manifestation of some fruit that is born of this life experience, can you offer your gift in the simplest of ways? By seeing other people, hearing other people, practicing deeper awareness of yourself, being kind with yourself by breathing a little more deeply, by being a little more present. Can we offer grace, forgiveness, understanding, compassion to others that are suffering, to those that are trapped in their own suffering and confusion? Can we offer just the acknowledgement of their pain, to see them, to recognize that they are human and caught up in some sort of mental loop that keeps them trapped in suffering? Can we simply acknowledge and recognize ourselves in each other? Can that simple acknowledgement of another's humanness be God's gift to the world? Can simply treating other people the way that we want to be treated, can that simply be our gift or God's gift, since we are from the source? Can that be something that was given to us by the divine to offer to others? Can we dare to see ourselves in each other and offer the grace of knowing that we all struggle and suffer? So if we see it in someone else, instead of having contempt and judgment for their confusion, their folly, their weakness, their confusion, can we instead have compassion and just gently hold space to offer them forgiveness, even if they haven't earned it or don't deserve it, but have the grace to offer kindness and love and compassion? Can we do that by just holding space in our physical bodies, by keeping our nervous system grounded and regulated, by keeping ourselves peaceful and relaxed, and holding space for others when they are confused and struggling with tension and confusion and suffering? So, what do you think? You're God's gift to the world? Well, maybe we are. Maybe all of this is God's gift to the world. Our humanness, this technology, the connection, the sharing, and the understanding, the relation, the interconnectedness of the entire experience, from the air that we breathe to the sun that grows the food, to the air, to the clouds, to all living things. All of it being creation, all of it being from source, all of it being from God, whatever you perceive, him or her or it, the universe, the force, the source, whatever you perceive it to be. Is it all a gift? Is it chaos? Is it order? Is it structure? Is it both? Is it all? Is it yin? Is it yang? It's all of it. And so are you. And as much as we can sit in the place of observing as awareness, this life experience, yes, we can observe it as the witness. And that is collective consciousness. That is collective awareness on some level, because the same awareness and consciousness that you have is the same awareness and consciousness that everything has. But just because we have awareness that allows us to see things objectively doesn't mean we can't subjectively participate in life as a human body, connecting with others, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And what is our responsibility to then take the gifts that we've been given, our understanding, our experience, our suffering, our knowledge, and to use that as an amalgam of our experience to help others and guide them through their experiences. as we sense a sense of purpose and meaning in our hearts, as we search for a reason for being, a why, we simply recognize that, to recognize the divine nature within us and all of life, and to help hold up the mirror and reflect that truth to others is a powerful gift that we can offer. To remind each other of the essential truths of this life experience, and to remind each other that we are whole and complete and loved just as we are. We always have been, and we always will be.